Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com. You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio here at lonestar.com. That's irlonestar.com. Worldwide and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. This is Dick Schischler with Mornings of Lone Star. That means we are live on YouTube, Facebook, if you're hearing my voice, because we have some special guests in the studio. I literally, right before we came on with me, I was told this person was in the CIA. You never tell somebody that right before you go on the air, because now I have to think in the back of my mind, what did I do? Why is she really here? Is this something about what I did last summer? This is probably really this is a sting operation. We have Lindsay, Dawson, and Andrea, Katen in the studio. Ladies, how are y'all doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Recuperating from all that pie we ate at Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah?
I know.
Was it a lot?
I'm still tired from the turkey, but.
Yeah. Thanksgiving, especially at my age, being single and almost 40, I'm in this weird thing where I kind of go, I should just go on a cruise during Thanksgiving, because I don't I don't really need to go to Thanksgiving with my mom and dad. I'll see them, but they don't really need me there. I don't have the grandkids, because usually when you because I have 5 brothers and sisters.
Oh wow!
And so I have 17 nieces and nephews,
Oh.
and so every time the holidays come around, it's always do I really need to? You don't really care if I come. You got so much other stuff going on.
I mean, we have kids, and I still want to go on a cruise for Thanksgiving.
Well, no, I mean because the food and everything, and then you have the Friendsgiving, and it's just, it hit me this week really hard. I was like, why do I even have to do this? I can just go do whatever I want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now we're here.
Yes, here we are.
And let me ask you this, because you're both mothers. Do you think the time between Thanksgiving and Christmas gets smaller or longer? The feeling of it, not the technical hours, but I feel right when Thanksgiving hits, all of a sudden it's January, the middle of January.
That is true.
It
goes really quick. But I feel like they're gearing up for Christmas and Halloween, So by the time it's Christmas, okay, I'm ready for Christmas to be over.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking about it for 2 months.
Exactly. Well, in the stores, everything is Christmas from August on. You're already seeing Christmas
Is it?
stuff.
I don't know. I don't go to the stores.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They're pushing it.
As soon as the Halloween stuff is done, it's it's all Christmas stuff. We went to Walmart a couple of weeks ago to get a fan just to plug in, to put on a tabletop. They didn't have any. All they had out were heaters, and I'm like, this is Texas. We don't need heaters.
Yeah, we also never know.
Well, that's true. But,
I mean, I think
for the
it
2
was,
days it gets cold.
Yeah, it was 30. I think yesterday morning.
well, there was frost on my car this morning, but now it's fine.
We should have that heater put in the car.
I guess.
Defrost it. But no, every like I said, every year, I'm like, man, it feels like it just goes by real fast. Because I remember when I was little, it was the longest time. Because when you had days off school, it felt like a whole year sometimes, because you go through all the holidays real fast, and it's this is the greatest holiday ever, because we're still in school, so it's not summertime, so I got another summer coming up. But now being an adult, it's I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I mean, my kids get a week off for Thanksgiving, 2.5 weeks for Christmas.
Yeah.
What about for parents that work?
Oh no, the world doesn't care about that. The world does not care about that.
Exactly.
And so let's kind of talk about you, Lindsay.
Yes.
So folks don't know, she is involved with the community. She's a board of trustee of the Conroe ISD, that's Conroe Independent School District. So she seems like someone likes her because they voted for her. So that's kind of cool. You want a popularity contest.
A few people voted.
You want how many people?
56,000.
That's
voted
it
for me. That's it. I mean, that's what it took to win.
That's pretty great. I think. I mean.
Well, actually, yeah. I guess there's 130,000 people in the county or something like that.
I think it's 200, but in
was
terms
it
of
we had 200?
registered voters, it's less than that. But yeah.
So you're really proud of that. Look at that.
Of course, I'm proud of that. We worked really hard for that win.
Are you married?
I am married.
So did you tell your husband that all the time?
He was super happy when it was over.
Oh, I believe that. I was in a relationship that the person was going through school, through nursing school, and I was like, I secretly in my mind, I was like, I can't wait till this is over.
Yeah.
Because it's impossible to live with somebody that's that focused on something.
Oh, I know.
And it's almost like you have your pie of your mind, and like 98% of that pie is taken up by that, and then you're like, hey, 2%, you can't just leave that for the kids and I. Like, that's not how this works.
Yeah, he kind of turned into mom for a bit. He was having to take care of all the
That's dangerous. Because once he does that, he realizes, hey, this is easy. Why do we need mom?
Oh, no, he did not think it was quite the opposite. You know, they had Chick-fil-A every day. I'm like, okay, guys.
See, I always wondered that because we're going to talk about uThrive Academy. That's a business you run to help people from 14 and up to do basic financial learning, basically. Yeah. And the way I was going to connect that was, like, I grew up, my mom taught me how to cook. And I was shocked by, like, when I went to college, like, no one knew how to cook.
Yeah.
And even in a dorm room, I was like, I could figure this out. Like, how to cook.
I mean,
well, no, not microwave. You're not supposed to have little stoves.
I was going to say, did you have a stove?
Well, they have the induction stoves.
Huh.
You know, so it's not actual coils, so it's kind of cool, but it's technically not against the rules of the dorm. That was my argument.
Yeah, it's not like it's a hot plate or
I mean, it kind of is, but but the rules. You read the rules.
So you brought that into your dorm?
Oh yeah,
I'm impressed.
And then I didn't
even do that.
when we actually lived I lived on a street with like 7 of my best friends. So you can imagine. Like, we weren't in a fraternity, we didn't need to do that kind of stuff. But it was basically a frat house. Right. Our house became the frat house, and I was cooking all the time.
Wow. Because you're the only one that knew how to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I was like, how do you guys not know how to bake a pie?
Yeah.
Like this, and it was just like, I felt like I was a master Jedi, and they were my Padawans, and I'm sitting here showing them how to bake a pie.
People are so busy now that, like,
you
a
think
lot
so?
of the moms. Yeah,
I don't think so. I think people will be making excuses.
No, it could be excuses, but most of them, a lot of them, they just are. They're so busy, they don't take the time, so they're either door dashing or picking up ready-made meals or throwing something in the oven, and they just don't take the time to say, hey, come here, let me teach you this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fast food pop-ups are one of the fastest growing industries in the state of Texas right now.
I believe it. No, actually, I think the word fast food is getting kind of stretched. Mm-hmm. Because in my mind, when someone tells me fast food, they're like, oh, McDonald's. Yeah. But then that could include, like, Chili's now because they're doing, the to-go, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So people, it's the word's getting kind of weird for me. I don't know. The DoorDash thing blows my mind. But
for sure.
But you have a company, you have a course that people can take to teach financial literacy, the basics.
Yes.
So basically, how to manage your money right when you get a job, because you need a job to.
Well, let me back up.
Oh, back up.
It's a 2-for-1 master course. So the first half of the course is focused on career readiness. So understanding what your interests are, your values, your capabilities, and lining that up with an occupation that you could actually see yourself doing. So looking at the end goal, not just, I want to get a degree, and that will open up all the doors, because not necessarily. I mean, 2/3 of jobs now are jobs that don't require degrees. And so I'm challenging young people to think beyond the, I'll just get my first job or, military or get a degree. It's like, what do you want? What occupation do you want to get that's actually going to pay a livable wage? So not just minimum wage, but enough to actually sustain your lifestyle where you can save. And so that's the first half, is kind of putting together a career plan. And then after that, it's the nuts and bolts of, okay, how do I actually get a job? Because you got to start somewhere, right? And so it's, resume building, how to interview, how to negotiate for a job. And then once you do get a job, how to actually keep that job. Because it's one thing to do well on the interview, but then you have to actually show up and work. And that's the hard part. It's those soft skills that our schools are not really teaching our kids.
Kind of like the discipline
Yeah, and it's, how to talk to people, interrelational skills, conflict resolution, how to be a team player, how to be, show up on time. Like when an employer expects you to be there at 8, come at 8.
See, I would be terrible at a job.
How'd you get, oh wait, you started.
I started it because
So
I
you
was
can
like,
do it
I can do
over
whatever I want. And that's, someone asked me, I was like, what inspires you? Like, I just kind of didn't want to do anything what people told me to do. I just want to do whatever I want.
And entrepreneurs, that's awesome.
So.
I mean, I've started this company. I'm an entrepreneur as well. And that's a whole nother set of skills, right? I mean, that it's tough to start your own business, but, and so, that's really the first part is how do we get you earning income? Because you can't manage money that you don't have. So we got to get you getting a job. So once that money starts flowing in, now what? And I mean, I know people very successful making 6 figures. They don't know how to manage their money either. And so they're living paycheck
They're
to
paying someone
paycheck.
else to do it.
Right.
Yeah. And so then they're overspending. I mean, that's really what's happening in our society is we're overspending. So I teach really basics, how to budget, especially for kids, life skills that no one teaches you, like how to buy a car, what to look for when you're renting a place, renting versus buying. And we actually teach them how to budget. Staying on a budget, talking about spending and the psychology behind spending and why, it's so addicting, right? You just want to swipe that credit card, but you don't really think about what comes after that.
Well, the credit card world sucks.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because it's cool to have that opportunity to spend money. But one thing I always hated about it, because I never really learned how like the APR and all that kind of stuff worked.
Right.
And these people, the credit card companies would change it all the time. And all they do is they just send you an email now. They don't have to send. They don't mail you. It's like, oh, here's the.
And it's buried in the fine print.
And it's all this stuff. And I'm like, and I remember, I think it was like 2 years after college, I was finally like doing my job, making money, and I was just like, I wonder how much this credit card is costing me. And it was crazy. It was like at 24%. And I was
Were
like,
you paying off your credit card?
yeah. And I was like, and I go, oh, shoot. And I like did the math and I was like, I go, this is crazy. And so that's all I did for a year is paid it off. Like I was just boom.
Yeah.
And that's also because I got out of college and I was like, oh, look, I have a credit card.
Well, and they prey on young people
I
who
love
don't necessarily know.
No, I wanted to start a credit card company.
Right.
Well, I mean, they're making, trillions of dollars.
I know. I wanted to start a
Billions,
company.
not
I wanted to be
trillions,
the guy
billions.
in front of Congress going, I didn't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
That wasn't me. That wasn't my idea.
Well, and like if you look at some of their statements, depending on the company, and like Capital One, they send you this nice little box on your statement that says if you pay the minimum, you'll pay this off in like 500 million years.
Yeah. Well, at least they're letting you know.
That should be like a big red flag that, do I really want
Well,
to
and that's what I love. Was it the Trump guy was like, hey, we're going to see if we can cap it, cap what they can charge. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense.
Like in fees or
Like
in
just,
interest. Yeah.
I think the overall interest, they have to cap it.
Yeah.
But I think that's really important with the literacy part. But it's also the dangerous part of it is it's always changing.
Right.
Especially like investment stuff. Again, it's kind of like the credit score. It's just like a magic number. No one really knows. Is it like a big brain computer somewhere in a warehouse that just kind of like figures it out? And we're all kind of like, yeah, they make money today. Or they lost a lot of money today.
Yeah.
Or they're not going to make any money today. And it's like, you win some, you lose some.
Right.
Well, and I try to, make the course everything you just mentioned, we talk about.
Yeah, that's what I like about it.
And so it's kind of a stepping, like you have to do the foundational step before you can keep going up. And so first of all, it's budgeting, right? You have to know how much you're actually spending in order to save, because then the next step is saving. And it's understanding, how savings accounts work, checking, money markets, certificate of deposit. A debit card is not a credit card. It's basic foundational things, saving for that rainy day fund. And then once you're in a good, solid position to where if an emergency happens, you're not going to completely collapse. Then it's getting to investing, right? And that's really where the exponential growth can happen in your wealth. But you can't do that until you've done these other steps. And then I have a module all on borrowing. So how to do it the smart way. And it's different from like a Dave Ramsey who, he's like, cut up all your credit cards. Credit scores are a scam.
Well, I guess what it is kind of hard to make a class, like an overall concept that will fit the basic needs of everybody. Because everybody's in a different scenario, especially when it comes to opportunity. Because it's just kind of like, well, because that's what I love about real estate. People of my age are like, oh man, you want to borrow because you can just buy a house and borrow. Like we had a guy in with the VA. He was saying if you're a vet, you can. This was one guy set up a system where you get these certain loans through the VA.
Yeah.
And then this one guy was just renting houses. He'd buy houses with the loans and just became a landlord.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there going like, see, he has the opportunity.
Yeah.
Because he served, and so he figured out the system.
Right.
But,
and military, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities if you go into the military.
But like when you're making a course for basics, it's like, how do we make sure everyone gets the general idea?
Right. Well, and that's why,
applies to everybody.
it's a foundational course.
That's keyword.
Foundational. But I mean, even with each module, each lesson, I mean, you could do a semester long course on these topics, but I call it's kind of like adulting. It's a class on adulting. It's things that no one ever taught you, but you're just expected to know. Like insurance. My final module is on how to
another
protect
magic
yourself.
number.
Yeah.
Another magic number.
Yeah, like how do you protect yourself? And insurance is a big part of that, right? And then when we grow up and start adulting, we're like, oh, we have to get insurance. And what is a deductible? What's a premium? What's out of pocket? All of these complicated topics that we all just are assumed to already know as soon as we get out of college or whatever we're doing. We're recreating the wheel, trying to figure out these things on our own. I'm like, why not just put it into one course? Stop recreating the wheel.
Right.
So.
Well, I think budgeting is getting hard today. Even the basic budgeting from, like when I started being an adult, it's like everything changes every year now, or even half a year. Like the prices of everything, it like adjusts, and it's more of not like 8%. It's like 20-something%.
Right.
So.
Well, and one thing I like to point out, for parents, especially or homeschool parents, we're not in the same economy today as we were, when they were coming of age, where they could buy a house for, less than $100,000.
Now you can just build your own house. That's what I want to do.
Everything is even groceries, it's so expensive.
It is.
And so there's less room for financial error starting out.
Yep.
And so it's even more important to get them started early, understanding these concepts if they're going to get ahead, because they're just dealing with a much different economy today than our parents were, or even we were, So it's really important concept.
One of my favorite outcomes of that every year when I do my budget is I kind of, you have your little categories. And then when you see like what your biggest percentage category is, that kind of shows you what kind of lifestyle you've been living, if that makes sense. And that's my favorite part, because it's like, oh, maybe I need to stop doing that. And then, or maybe I should do more of this because, it's so small.
I kind of teach them the nuts and bolts kind of on Excel. But once they understand that the basic premise, there's a ton of online apps and things that you can,
it's like tracking your calories.
Yeah, it tracks it. I mean, you link all your accounts and it all goes, there's Monarch, there's different accounts where you don't have to, it doesn't have to be hard.
Right.
Isn't
there one that like tracks it? It'll look and see where you have all these different subscriptions that you may be paying for.
I don't understand how that works. I don't trust those advertisements. I was like, I'm not letting them have all my, like, how are they going to know I have those accounts?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, my husband's in cybersecurity. Yeah. So if anyone's worried or paranoid of getting hacked, it's him. But there's also, the convenience, and there's an acceptable amount of risk. And we subscribe to all of those apps. Like they have our account data. We're okay with that.
But just to see if I have a subscription, that's what we're, because I was like, that's a foot in the door kind of ad.
Oh, where it's
like, what do they really?
Which subscriptions?
Like, what does that company really do?
Yeah.
Because if they're just checking if I'm paying for an extra subscription after I find out, I'm done with it, right? So they have to do something else.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know.
So that's when I was like, what is this all about? Like, I could just look at my bank statement.
That's true, but people don't do that.
Yeah.
Usually.
I'm sure they're just selling your data to somebody else. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. That's fine.
Well, that's when I see those ads. I'm like,
Well-
that it's either has something to do with money, like they help you invest or something, and this helps you set up a portfolio, manage your money, and protect your money, and that's part of their service. Like, hey, we want to protect you. Let us see what you're overpaying for. But yeah, so it's every time I see it, I'm like, I don't know what they're doing, but I don't like it. I smell it.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, same with Google and all the other.
But I don't connect. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, they all own us and our
Yeah.
data.
I'm okay with that. But I mean, like,
You are?
yeah, because you kind of depend on them.
Yeah. They've made it
Like,
that
imagine
way,
if you
huh?
weren't like if you couldn't have email addresses ever. Like, you're not allowed to email anymore.
Oh, I mean, if our communications.
No,
know,
just
if something
email.
happens-
Just
But I
email.
mean, email,
So
phone.
all you have your phone. That's all you have is your
If you
phone.
did
You can
not
call.
have
You
your
can call or
phone-
text people.
Yeah, I mean, and our entire society would collapse.
Yeah,
mean-
my life would be so much easier. I love it. I love it.
I mean, the amount of emails that I get is completely ridiculous. So if not having emails,
See, this is
man,
where
That
I
would
always
make me
think.
happy.
I always think like, if I had started a business, I want to be a person who gives people new identities, because like especially during this election period, I don't know how my phone number got it, but I got texts from
yes.
both sides all the time, and they weren't even like legitimate. It was just like, Mike Pompeo is in town doing this. I'm like, why do I care about Mike Pompeo? But like, it had nothing to do with Trump. It was like, but it's still political stuff. I go, how did they get my number? And it won't
Yeah.
go away. And I bet if you took my inbound calls, percentage-wise, like 90% is spam calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think I just need to get a new phone number. I was like, was really thinking about that, because
You should.
I
Why
half
not?
my communication on this thing is with fake people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and I
The
was like,
spammers are the worst.
and same thing with the emails. It's like somehow like you just get on a list and you just get emails.
I feel
and-
like half my day is just unsubscribing
Yeah.
to
Yes.
emails.
That's what I was doing, sitting in the parking lot earlier.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe and subscribe and
And
subscribe.
yet half of it doesn't work. Like I still
Yeah,
get the
no.
email the
I
next
know
day. I'm
it's
like,
weird. So that's a good business site. New identities.
Yeah.
10% off if you're from Cuba. What do you think? You gotta have that discount for sure. I love it. But I know I think the course sounds like a great idea, because luckily for me, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, so I was always there with my dad or with somebody doing bookkeeping, doing pretty much everything with a business, and you can apply the same knowledge, to your personal life. Because I think really what's the most important thing for young adults is figure out what you want to do with your time, because that kind of determines what you're going to
Something
do.
productive.
Yeah, well, now it doesn't have to be productive. It can be whatever. Just do drugs and die. Who cares?
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Free will. Let everyone do whatever they want. But
Well, I read this article recently. It's like 1 in 4 from ages 18 to 24 are literally doing nothing.
I believe it.
They're not in school. They are living with their parents.
Yeah.
And they're not working either. And we wonder why we have a mental health crisis.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
We got to start inspiring our young people again.
Well, it's kind of one of those double-edged swords, because for example, one of the statistics I really enjoy in the Montgomery County area is the return rate of high school graduates or college graduates, and it's somewhat higher than most average counties. Meaning, if someone goes to college or graduates high school, they'll come back and work here. And so, because that's really important to a community, because you have to have every age group represented in a healthy number, because you'll end up like Florida and everyone's old and you're in the service
the brain
industry.
drain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like to me that's really good, but then again it's like on the same side it's like, where are the opportunities? Because when I meet people my age working from home and they can work anywhere in the world, it's kind of like to me that's a different mindset than say my parents.
Right.
Like if all you had to do is answer emails every day, where would you live? And you're 25.
Right.
So it's like, oh, well, I live at home with my parents because I don't have to go anywhere. And I can be banking.
Yeah, I mean, it's both.
Or I go to
right?
Hawaii.
Like, you have to have...
Where would you go?
Where?
Say you're
with what?
25, and you have a remote job. Where would you move?
Huh.
So See, the fact that you don't know like instantly what you would do worries me a little bit.
North Carolina.
Really?
North Carolina.
Yeah, we visited
The whole
there
state? You
several
would just move
times.
around?
No, I mean like outside of Raleigh. It's
Okay.
North Carolina is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of underrated.
Well,
I mean, you got the mountains, you have the beach. It's a smaller population. It's not like the traffic you have here. The traffic is horrendous here. It's only getting worse.
don't think
So
it's that
yeah,
bad.
I'd get away from the traffic. Number one.
Yeah.
Move to a beautiful place. It's not humid year round.
Okay, so just not here. All right, we got it. Andrea, what would you do?
Oh gosh. I'd probably travel around.
See,
Because
that's
there's so many
You get
places
bored.
that that I haven't been to.
I have a friend. What they do is they have friends. They worked internationals, so they would just travel internationally to friends' places and live with them for like a month, and just
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, I'm going to be in Mexico City for a month and a half. Hey, I'm going to be in France for a month and a half," and like they don't have an apartment, they don't have anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like,
We used to do that more when I worked for the government. We
Yeah.
traveled.
"Oh, that's
quite a
right. You were a CIA person.
Yeah.
Were you actually like in the CIA as a desk jockey, or were
bit. A
you?
desk jockey.
Yeah, like you sat
Ooh,
behind a desk.
That's not.
You mean an analyst?
Is that what they call them? Is that the nice? So you had the headset and you were talking to James Bond.
I was an analyst, yes.
Okay.
So I wasn't super cool like what you think CIA is.
Well, no, now you're
I
replaced by
was-
AI, so it's like
No, there's
I'm just
still,
kidding.
no, they probably don't trust AI there. So, no, I was an analyst and focused on the Middle East. So
Yeah.
did a fair amount of traveling.
Can you speak that language over there?
Arabic, yeah.
You really can.
I mean, it's been what 5 or 6 years since I've been out there, so it's gone downhill quite a bit. It's
Well, yeah,
a
'cause
very
you don't
difficult
converse.
language. If you don't use it, I mean, I think with any language, if you don't use
Yeah.
it, you lose it. But it's still like if I were to dig back in, it would come back to me pretty quickly. But I mean, I spent years studying it, so yeah,
Wow.
it's a tough language.
Was that exciting, or looking back, was it kind of like, man, that was boring?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Right.
I mean, I studied international business in
Okay.
school, and Arabic was my minor.
Oh, so they found you.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Well, that's not completely true. I did apply randomly during a summer internship because I started in oil and gas.
Okay.
And I was in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, if you know where that is.
No,
That's okay.
you graduate. Where do you want to go?
I-
We're going to
well-
Oklahoma, baby.
Well, yeah. So we were in Texas for half my life,
Yeah.
and then we moved to Oklahoma when I was in high school, and so ended up just going to OU out there and stuff. But anyways, oil and gas is such a major industry
It
in
is.
Oklahoma, and so I was in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, as like a 20-year-old maybe, and it's a small town, and I'm like, I can't do this long term.
Yeah.
I can't.
I love small towns, so I'm
And
that's
so
fine.
I'm like, I just got online and I'm like, I always wanted to live in DC. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to apply for
Why would you
CIA.
want to live there?
It was awesome. As a young person, as a single person, it's awesome.
Oh, I guess.
I loved it.
The
I loved
hustle
it.
and bustle,
Oh,
or-
yeah.
Because
yeah.
all
It's
those
really
dungeon
exciting.
parties they have there.
The dungeon
Yeah,
parties?
come on. Their politicians are always getting blackmailed all the time.
I did not go to any
Well, it
dungeon
sounded like you
parties.
wanted to go, and that's why you wanted. I mean,
No comment.
it's like, where's the nightlife where it gets filthy? Let's go to DC. Duh, the swamp. That's what. That's.
No.
I'm just kidding. Well, that's what I can't like when people tell me like, oh, I want to move to New York. I'm like, man, I don't know about that. Like, I feel like you get a staph infection.
That one I don't really get. I mean, we've been to New York several times. I don't know.
Well, no, it's really neat. Like, I
cool
would
to
totally get
visit.
it if
It's
you
cool to visit.
grew up there.
Yeah.
Because if you grew up there, that I can see the charm really hitting you. It's kind of like growing up in Houston. Like most people are like, "Why does anyone move to Houston?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't move to Houston. I grew up there, so I like it. I like it."
Yeah.
So same thing with New York. I imagine because like New York's cool, but it's like I don't know how anyone.
I felt like I had my head on a swivel the entire time.
Like, if
and
you-
this was like
You
know,
can't wear
years
flip flops
ago.
there. Like I wouldn't wear flip flops there. Wouldn't do it
Why?
because they put their garbage on the street.
Oh.
Yeah, and the smell was a little bit.
Right? They put their. I mean, like.
Yeah, it did stink.
And I'm talking like living there. I'm not talking about just visiting and being in the Ritz Carlton or whatever it is. I'm talking like living there. That to me would be wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with kids. I don't know. It'd be difficult. to do that. So we like being in the burbs.
Oh yeah.
It works. It works for our family. So
Isn't that funny what people do for their kids? I always laugh
Right,
about
yeah.
that.
well, that's actually because we so I was at the CIA for 5 years,
Yeah.
and then I transitioned to Department of State. So I was a diplomat abroad. And so we lived in the UAE for 2 years, and that's actually where we had our daughter. So our daughter.
What was your husband doing at the time?
He worked at the embassy with me. So,
Oh.
yeah, he was former
He was-
government as well.
Is he CIA too?
He was, yeah.
Okay.
He was.
Did they tell y'all to get together?
No,
No.
they
No, they
didn't.
did. I think they
But
probably
it
probably
worked
set
out,
it up.
It worked out well though, because it's a hard lifestyle. I knew a ton of people there that it's kind of incestuous a little bit.
I believe it because you.
It's easier, because you can't really talk about a lot of stuff. So, and even with us, we worked in different offices, so I didn't fully know what he was ever working on.
Well, did you really care though?
Yeah,
Oh.
he was doing some cool stuff.
Yeah. Like,
So
well, CIA. I mean,
I would tell you, but I'm on air, so I probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
You
Well,
might
see,
get
I love
mad
that.
at me.
I love that. You know, because when people say that to me, especially when we're on the radio, I'm like, oh, then I don't care. Then like, if it's not worth talking about, then I don't care.
Well, he
I mean, 'cause
worked
you-
on some pretty high
No,
profile.
well, see, my imagination's already through the roof. So I'm like, but then
well,
again,
maybe you have him on here.
it's
Do you want to
the-
have Michael
sure.
come on?
Yeah,
next?
if he wants to tell me
Michael,
all the
you
cool
see that?
stuff.
Like I'm sitting here like looking out the door, waiting for like somebody to come bust.
No, they're
in
doing
with
Christmas
guns
stuff. I don't know
a-blazing
what they're
and-
doing.
Yeah. And Citizens Coffee's outside, and they got free coffee and muffins. I'm just
What
saying.
the heck?
Yeah. You should go. Get
Did
some.
you say
It
free
is.
muffins?
Yeah. It's
Free
yeah.
muffins.
Oh,
well, I
I
think
might
they're
have to
free.
do
I don't know.
that.
She
Okay.
tried to offer me some. So
But, and so, we had our daughter overseas. We're going to eventually end up, back in DC. And I'm like, it's really expensive there. I would never see
priority
my
shifts.
daughter. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it literally, when we had her, our everything changed, especially for me, because I was working like a dog.
You blame her for all your problems now?
She's great.
You sure?
And I have a son now, too. We have 2 kids.
So who do you blame more
For what?
for all your problems?
I didn't have any
Because
problem, though.
you shifted.
When you become a
I mean, you
mom,
gave up saving
it
the
just-
country. So
Well,
he went right there.
Wow,
mean,
now you're really making me.
I'm
No,
just
I mean, I'm not going to lie. It was really hard.
she's saving the
decision.
world now by teaching financial literacy.
Yeah. It's just my attention has shifted.
Yeah.
And that's what entrepreneurship
well, what it tells me
allows
is the
me
Middle
to
East
do.
isn't that big of a deal. So
Well, not a whole lot's changed in
I know.
20
I'm
years.
just
They're
kidding.
still in war.
You never know with anything.
Unfortunately. So,
well, no, speaking of we never really know. See, that's what I love about your connection with the Connor ISD, because you just got read your rights or whatever you want to call it.
Sworn in.
Uh-huh. And now, because I always feel like that position is one of those mystery positions no one pays attention to on the day-to-day unless you're one of those weirdos that watches every city council meeting and once, unless you're a journalist, I guess. Well, I don't even know what a journalist really is today, but it's one of those things where it's I really don't know, but somehow we need it. It's kind of
I think it's one of the most. Okay, so this is my deal.
it's like it should be on Mike Rowe's Dirty Jobs.
Right. Yeah.
So, okay, I worked for the federal government for 10 years, so involved with foreign policy, and I'm thinking this is where we make the biggest difference, is at the federal level. And
No.
I realized after 10 years of really nothing changing that this is not where you make an impact. It's at the local
Yeah.
level. That's where you make an impact. And to me, maybe I'm biased because I'm on the school board, but I think it is one of the most important elections that we have out of all of the elected officials.
Okay, with that in mind, give me 2 to 3 bullet points of why. Because I still don't because my dad was on the HOA. That was amazing because I was helping him doing some tech stuff for his HOA, and I'm like, man, you guys take this so serious, and we're just talking about roads. We're doing a 25-year road program. We need to start saving money.
Yeah.
So it gets me thinking about with you, so what are the
Why?
What can y'all really even do? Can you give my kids more days off?
Technically, if we wanted to, yes. I'm not
Oh.
saying. And
No,
let
no,
me
it's-
just say,
I'm
I'm
talking
one
about-
person. I'm speaking for
I know.
myself.
I'm talking about. I just want to know the
Why is it so
the power
important?
the power spectrum.
Yes,
I don't
so-
really get it.
So first of all, it's an independent school district, right? So each district is autonomous.
Okay.
Conroe ISD, 73,000 children in the district. It's
Dang.
the 9th largest district in the state, soon to be 7th largest.
Okay.
The board of trustees, I mean, they're the final decision makers. So everything
Goes to y'all.
goes up to the board. Now it's a board decision. There's 7 people on the board, so it's not just one person
Yeah.
making the
But
decisions.
y'all don't create anything. Everyone proposes it to you, or is it goes
We can
both
create
ways?
policies,
Okay.
yes.
So you can
yes.
randomly
so
just
we
say,
oversee
only green pencils.
policies. We're the governance arm.
Okay.
And then the superintendent, central administration, they are the ones that execute our vision and our goals as a board. So the superintendent answers to the board
Yeah.
of trustees. So it's a very influential position to be in. It's also, there's a lot of weight with that. You're in charge of an entire, I mean, they have a $750 million budget almost.
See, that's what's so weird to me is like when you think about that kind of number and you think about the evolution of the county, what are like the most pivotal position or decisions that Conroe ISD has made in the last 30 years that people still think about today?
That they still think about
Yeah.
today?
Because I always think, like, for example, we're right across the street right here from City Hall and from Conroe City. And I'm always like, I wonder what decision, because the hotel's a big deal. And like, that's like, people are going to be talking about that forever, it seems like. So that was like a decision. Someone made that decision, or a group or whatever. So I
Yeah.
was thinking, all right, so what is the Conroe ISD? What are their big decisions they made that are either good or bad?
Well, I mean, the
That I
first one
can-
that comes to mind that's most obvious and felt is buildings, right? Building more
We
schools.
always need more schools. Yeah.
Which you
Or we can get rid of the kids.
no.
No, not an option.
Okay. I'm
I mean,
a
people
problem
move.
solver. I'm
People
a problem
move.
solver.
Your problem.
Okay. We can remove the children from the parents because clearly that's what everyone wants anyway, right? And we'll just send them to the army or something. That's what we should do. Boom. Problem solved.
Well, we are all about parental rights.
Yeah.
So whatever the parent wants to do, that's their decision. So yeah, I mean, our district is growing rapidly.
Oh yeah, it's weird.
Our schools are over capacity. A lot of them are because of all the development
Okay.
in Conroe.
I got a question for you. You might not know the answer to this.
Okay.
So one thing I've noticed about school districts is like every 2 to 3 years, there's randomly like, a designated 9th grade, a designated like 8th grade or 7th grade built, like just school.
Just for like one grade. you
One
mean?
grade.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so what happened? Like, does that mean people are moving in and that's like the current population growth is in the 9th grade? They foresaw that and it's like, hey, we got to figure this out. We have like 20% more 9th graders than 10th and 8th graders. So they can't all fit in the school. So let's just move them over here. Is that what it is? Or is that just like...
That is one question I actually have. So Curtis, if you're listening, I'm going to ask you.
Because I always wondered that. Because, when families move, I get like population fluxes, I get that. But it's like, how do you determine like, 8th grade? Well, we're going to do the 8th grades this year. They're going to be in their own school.
Well,
And-
it's really just the 9th grade campus. is the
So now,
only one it's
different ISDs have this.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was saying.
In
Because it's like
Conroe,
random.
it's 9th grade. They have a 9th grade campus.
Okay.
And I would imagine it's just the sheer volume.
But
right?
why 9th grade? Was that, 9th grade's like, what, 11? No. Was that 11, 12?
13,
13?
14.
14.
So...
Maybe it's because
And
they're still
maybe-
in that crazy teenager, like they're on that verge of still being real, immature versus I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's,
no,
it's a
weird
hard
age group.
transition,
It's
right? To
interesting.
go from middle school to high school, and the freshmen maybe get picked on in the past. So maybe it's
So
an
what about the
easier
10th graders? They're going to
transition.
get picked on.
Right. I mean, then you're just moving the goals.
Yeah.
So. It is different for me. I mean, I went to high school in Oklahoma, and it was just, K through 5.
Oh, no wonder you wanted to go to Washington, D.C.
What does that mean?
You grew up in Oklahoma.
I grew up in Texas and
It
Oklahoma.
was a joke.
Okay.
I love Oklahoma.
Okay.
I love all the
Oklahoma's great.
states. I love all the
Oklahoma is
states.
great,
It is great.
y'all.
I like it.
We say y'all there too. But yeah, it was 6 through 8 was the middle school.
Okay.
And then 9 through 12. There was just 3 schools. So that's kind of what I'm used to. So it's different.
Yeah, that's why I always wondered that. I was like, something's going on here that I haven't seen. I'm not seeing the pattern, because it's either people are moving in, and that's when a lot of people move, is when their kids are transitioning, or it's too late. I don't know why they would move like when he's 9. Like, that'd be the worst time to move for your kid.
Well,
be the new ninth
jobs
grader.
And, you have
yeah.
other external factors
Well, I know,
and things too, but
Yeah.
it is. There's just, it's just such a large district, and they have to make a lot of big decisions that affect a lot of families, a lot of kids.
know.
So,
Well, one thing that amazes me is the decisions parents make based off their children's needs. Because I'm like, you don't always have to do that. Like, always.
what do you mean? Like, give an example.
Well, because like I remember growing up, that was one of like the main reasons why we moved, was to switch school systems. And I remember looking back, I was like, you didn't really have to do that. Like, unless we were, getting shot up at school or something like that with gangs or whatever.
Well, you
So-
hear it a lot, especially on the campaign trail.
Yeah.
People move to Conroe ISD for
That's like
Conroe
we
ISD
moved.
specifically.
We moved from Sugarland to Spring because of that.
Well, once you have kids, you'll understand a little bit more. But I
Well,
mean,
and I'll probably go on the other end of psychosis. So I'll be like, we're gonna prep, like we're gonna be one of those prepping families. We're gonna have the underground tunnel. We're gonna have. That's what's gonna happen. I already know. I'm gonna snap. Like, I don't trust anybody.
Well, like we did that years ago.
Got to protect my family.
We moved from one school district to another because the kids were all scoring higher. So we naturally assumed, okay, this is a bigger school district. They have more money, they have more technology, and they have better teachers.
So there you go.
So that's why we did it. However,
They ended up like crap.
no, my daughter's at UT, so she must have done something right. But it wasn't that it was better teachers or whatever. It just was a lot more of them, and
Well, it's a percentage game, I
Yeah.
imagine. It's a numbers
well,
game.
and it's quality education.
Yeah.
And education is such a foundational part of our society and of a kid's upbringing. So parents should want the best education for their kids. So I totally understand that.
And like the smaller school districts, there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. I will just say that they have less money to pay their teachers. And an unhappy teacher, how good are they going to do their job?
Yeah, you got to have, satisfied, content, happy teachers.
So you do that in the budget? You're like, we'll give them raises or something? Is that
Well,
what
we haven't discussed that yet.
that's coming up
so-
on the deal?
Yeah, budget's always on the agenda.
Yeah.
So
Well, the school, that's what I love about this place. It's so diverse here. And like all the campuses and all this, there's too many. And we need to start getting rid of people. And but yeah, you have a big job, that's for sure.
yeah.
And I like the uThrive idea. It's really neat.
Well, and one thing we haven't talked about is the fact that our schools in general across the state of Texas and nationwide, a lot of states don't mandate financial literacy to graduate high school.
You think they should mandate?
Absolutely.
I agree with that 100%.
It should be
Well, I mean-
mandated to graduate high school.
Yeah.
And it's not just because I'm teaching the course. It's because it is a foundational skill that will help you or hurt you the rest of your life. 66% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now. And you think about all the stress that comes with that, when we could just educate them in the beginning and give them those foundational life skills that they need. Every single person is going to have to deal with this at some point in their life.
Well, yeah, like home ec.
It should be a requirement.
Well, I think the parents should do it.
Well, and I think
I don't
maybe
think the
that's
schools
the
should do it.
assumption, right? Is that, that's something the parent
I know that's
does
what
at home.
it goes
But-
like this all the time.
But does the
Yeah.
parent know it either? Because again, adults weren't taught these things either.
Yeah.
So how much are they instilling that?
Well,
in
because
their
that's one thing I
children?
always wondered, like in schools too. Everything changes every year. If I feel like especially when I went to school, I unfortunately went to a private school. But when I say everything changed, like curriculum changed every year, requirements changed every year, holidays changed every year, And I'm like, why can't we just keep it like the same? Like
Yeah.
just do the same time period for everything. Like why am I 1 year doing it? I had to be there at 7:30 in the morning. Now I gotta be here at 8:30 in the morning. Like just keep it the same.
Yeah. What is up with that?
Well, I think what it is, it's just influx of people. They're trying to manage how many people come into the building at a certain time.
But I mean, how do you keep that straight? Like, I mean, I live by my calendar. But
Well, I
can
think it's
only
just grades.
imagine
It just
it's-
depends on how many people are in the grade. That's the way I determine from. I was listening to my nieces over Thanksgiving, and I was like, "Wait, you get up at 6 o'clock and you get up at 8 o'clock, but y'all live in the same house? Like, how'd I go?" And I was like, I looked at my sister. I was like, "Do they ride the bus?"
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Or-
do they ride the bus?
And she goes, "No, they all come with me in the morning at like 5 a.m.
Ooh.
because she works. So it's like she just drops them off."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, it's very complicated. I mean, I've been learning a lot about the transportation
It's
sector.
a fun
very
puzzle.
complicated.
It's a fun puzzle.
You know, and you can imagine just with how wide Conroe ISD is, the geography.
Oh yeah,
It's really complicated and it's expensive too.
yeah.
So yeah, there's
Again,
a lot of kids
I kind of want to
watching.
run for board now, just so I can just learn how it works. That'd be
You
so much
should.
fun.
And in 2 years from now,
Yeah, I'll
We'll
be
have to-
that butthead. It's like, what is this? Oh, we've talked about that like 3 months ago. Yep, I'm finally reading it, and I just want to know what it is.
you should. It's unpaid, you know.
I'll be the weirdo because it's like this guy have any kids here. It's like,
He'll be the one unraveling everything.
I think it'd be cool. Especially I'll be like the bus thing that amazes me because I loved riding the bus. So that was one of the cool things to do, and it always changed. That changed too. That blew my mind. Like I remember from like 3rd grade to 4th grade, the bus stop changed. It's across the street. I'm
Right.
like, why?
And that gets, you know, heated too, right? Where does the bus stop? And-
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But now, I mean, there's like 3 kids in a row, you know, on one little bench.
Oh, I
there.
don't.
It's yeah. And then I found out, don't quote me on the exact number. I want to say it's $150,000 for one bus, a new bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's diesel.
Is that the new ones that come with actual AC in it?
Yes.
Nah,
Because
see,
they sell it at Montgomery IC. They still have plenty of buses that do not have air conditioners.
I rode a
so-
bus this
Yeah.
weekend that
May,
didn't
it's-
have
ooh.
AC. Who cares?
In
Okay, let's ride
Houston.
that bus in May
We're not in Houston.
next to 3
It's
Okay.
other
the same
kids.
Let's-
temperatures.
let's be
It's
real.
the same.
They're closer to the water, so their temperature fluxes a lot more than up here. Okay.
hotter.
Hotter. And also, it's a mentality at one point. Okay, so we know it's hot.
I
Okay.
can totally see how he'd be as a parent. Like this tough love, suck it up, get
Yeah.
on the bus and sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
sit next
packed
to
And then
two
walk
other
2
kids.
miles back and forth.
and
Yeah.
that's why you give them an extra shirt.
But and then they get to sit
Tough
next to
love.
the 2 other kids that are sneaky too, and then they're all fighting and they're all, you know.
Well, the positive thing of that is we'll know when puberty's hitting because they'll start stinking more, and my kid will be known first. Like, here's some deodorant, and he'd be the first kid that wears
Please give your kid
deodorant. You know how cool that kid would be? First kid who does deodorant. That was a big deal. It's like, I'm wearing deodorant, man. What are you
All
doing?
right, I'm gonna remember this conversation, and I'm gonna come meet your kid one day.
Yeah. Yeah, right. But, we got to be wrapping up because we've been talking for a long time. uThrive Academy, Lindsay and Andrea, all the links to everything we talked about is included below, especially for uThrive. If you're interested in uThrive Academy, it's all right there. And you learn how to do your basic financial training courses, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think you have a special offer going on right now.
Well, we just wrapped up Cyber Monday sale yesterday.
Okay.
But right now the course is just $99, and that's for lifetime access.
Dang.
It's all online. There's a facilitator guide that parents can do with their kids and make sure they're staying on track. But it's really self-paced. They can come back. It's a long-term resource for them. So,
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about your company, Andrea? Did
Yeah,
you help
I'm
businesses?
good. Yeah, well, in fact,
You come in and tear it up,
That's right.
Yeah.
Fix their stuff.
fix their stuff. I like it.
And Andrea helps me quite a bit, so grateful for her. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I see the connection. So Andrew's really the one that's on the board. Okay.
Oh no.
That's what I.
She's
That's
the
what I would do.
puppet
I would
master.
totally do that. That's the thing I like to do. I want to. I love how politics work in this county. It's so stupid. It is pretty cool though, isn't it?
It's like a big
It's
spider.
fascinating.
Because I see that kind of as a positive in a way of people care.
Oh, they care.
Oh yeah, but I mean like that. You got to start with that.
We need to care.
Yeah, it's a positive thing. You got to look at it as a positive.
Matters. It matters because it affects people. So
I just
we
wish
need
there
to
was a
not
better
every day.
way to digest all the inflow of information and then letting the public know of the decisions. Because certain things, like if you read anything, especially here in like the city of Conroe, it like eventually, like after the first paragraph, it becomes like law literature. And you're like, oh, you got to be a lawyer to understand this crap. And
Well, you know what I miss is just actual news, not
What do you
their
mean?
commentary of what they think is happening.
Yeah.
Just actual news.
yeah,
I mean, when I worked at the CIA, that's what I wrote for a living, and you had to be apolitical. And I know all the little tricks that these journalists do to subtly
well, it's
change
kind of
the
obvious.
narrative. It's not even it's obvious. It's not
Yeah.
even subtle anymore. But for me, I'm like, just tell me tell me what's actually happening.
Yeah.
I will come to my own conclusion.
Well, it's
Yeah.
you know what it is. I think as a society, we've gotten afraid of accountability and repercussions, because if you're in a position to make important decisions, it's okay to understand the consequence, because there's always going to be a consequence.
Right.
Either it's
There's
good or bad.
trade-offs. There's trade-offs.
So it's like you got to be able to accept the good and the bad, and then especially as a leader, you got to be able to tell people, "Hey, this is going to suck,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but just for a little bit."
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
we're all about transparency.
Yeah.
Looking at all the sides and coming up with the best possible outcome. So,
We should just get rid of the school system. Just get rid of it. Just
where did you land on that?
I'm just because it's just too many problems. Just let everyone kind of fend for themselves.
Oh, total chaos.
more
Love it.
tough
Okay.
love from,
Yeah.
from Dick here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, also so that's why like South Korea is like when you have to join the army. I think that's one of the coolest ideas.
You're gonna be like that crazy uncle that
Yeah.
tries to.
You don't think that's a good idea?
Teach the kid how to swim by throwing him in the
compulsory,
water.
Yeah, conscript. Not,
yeah,
it's called
conscript,
conscript.
yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of. Is it really though? I mean, we're not. Yeah, it depends.
So, were you in the military?
No, but I would love to.
Why not?
Because I don't. I want to do what I want to do.
He didn't want
Well,
anybody
you just
hollering
got
at
done
him.
saying that we should all be forced to do.
Yeah, I think you. That's how you learn your life skills right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You ever met anybody from South Korea?
Actually, yeah.
It's nuts. They're like the coolest
I've met
people.
Some North Koreans too.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, they had joined too.
Well,
especially, like-
she has a crazy story.
Well, because that's one
Crazy
thing
story.
that blew my mind. Yeah, like that blows my mind on how certain countries handle. Because you look at our problems, you look at neighbors, and go like, how do they solve those problems? And like everyone I met from South Korea, Israel, and then maybe not really Russia, but it's like they have that foundation. It's weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you always you can tell. You're like, okay, they all have something very similar to one another. And I mean, it's kind of weird to say Israel's, they're Jewish, so they have that similar. South Koreans don't have that, but they have that mentality.
I think what you're saying is routine, stability,
Or servitude.
discipline.
Yeah. Don't put
you
me in
know,
charge of anything.
thinking
'cause
about
we'll do something
someone-
wild. We're going to change it. If I was ever on a board of you, I'm like, let's change it up. Like, there's not enough problems. Like, or there's too many problems. Let's,
He gets his
Maybe
stick
he
out and wants to
shouldn't-
stir
maybe he
things
shouldn't
up.
run for-
Well, I mean, because again, like either you guys at the the board, y'all deal with so many aspects of the school system. I just don't see how you can make an impact that is a big one. It's more of like it's almost like you have to change your mentality to let's just maintain it. Let's just make sure we're doing like an okay job instead of like doing the best job.
Oh no, we want to do the best job.
I know, but that's
mean,
I don't see that being possible
it
because
takes time.
it
It takes time with anything, with any big policies or whatnot. It takes time, right? Like for me, a big reason why I ran was for learning outcomes.
Yeah, see, that's where
improving
that's
our
where
reading,
I want to know the bus
improving our
stop
math
stuff.
scores. That takes time to implement, but it starts with getting the right people on the board to say this is a priority for us, and we're going to focus on
Okay.
this because otherwise.
Well,
may or may
all
not
right.
happen.
I know we're supposed to get off, but I want to know what's the biggest issue in Montgomery and Conroe ISD? Like right now, you have to choose one.
That's a.
There's not one.
Oh, there's a lot. I'm just
Well, I
trying
know-
to think of what I want to say on.
Well, I mean, like I don't know anything. I don't have kids. The only thing I would say from an outsider's perspective is, trying to balance out the outcome of the student's education among all the high schools, because it's easy to have the elementary schools and the middle schools have their own little programs because they're more of islands already. But when we start going to the high school, that's where the education becomes like this is gonna this could change this kid's life.
I would say
So-
it starts at elementary school. For me, I mean, one of the things I talked about a lot on the campaign trail was our reading scores. So for third grade, right now in Conroe ISD, 42% are not at grade level for reading. And third grade is a really, really vital year, pivotal year, because they're learning. They
So I just
move
assumed everyone was
from
learning.
they move from learning to read to reading to learn.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very hard for them to catch
Dang,
up.
40%?
Oh, 42% right now.
How do they get that number? It's just from-
It's based on the STAR assessment
Yeah.
that they.
But
and
no
that
one
was
liked
from
that.
2024. So this year, that's current. And if you can't read on grade level, that affects everything else
yeah.
about your education. So that's a huge priority for me is literacy. Yeah.
Okay. So good luck with that. I don't know how you would do that. Like, besides, snatching the kids and putting them in class yourself.
Well, I mean, it's going to be a comprehensive look at what we're doing
Yeah.
and what we can do better. So,
That's hard.
yeah. But it's not going to happen overnight.
So you're going to sit in
I'm
classrooms?
aware of
Is
that.
that what you're going to be doing? You're going to be sitting in all the classrooms?
We'll see.
Are you going to be that one that goes to, like, the worst class? Because that exists.
I mean, maybe so.
You can ask that question and be like, hey, what is the worst percentage class? Where is it? Like, show me what's part. And you show up and you just have that cross-armed look.
She could be like Michelle Pfeiffer in that movie where she goes to the bad school.
What was that
and
most?
she's
Is
a
it Dangerous
Marine.
Game? No. What was that?
Dangerous
Minds? Yeah, something like that.
Dangerous
And like all the
Minds.
kids started learning and all their grades
Yeah.
came up because she was so awesome. It's gonna
Well, I
be-
can't imagine what it would feel like to be that teacher.
I'm not sure that that teacher would appreciate me doing that.
Well, I know.
Maybe.
I can't imagine it. But like that's the worst thing about those kind of statistics. Like there is that statistic, so it
Yeah.
exists.
Well, it's looking
Again,
at
it's-
the curriculum.
Again, it's the accountability.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, it sucks to be here, guys, but we got to do
well,
something.
and I'm not trying to point fingers,
Well,
It's
no.
not like-
Well, that's
it's
what I'm
a-
saying.
it's
People,
a system,
people can
right?
perceive it that way. See, I wouldn't.
Oh,
I'm not pointing
I know
fingers.
That they probably do.
I'm not
but-
saying point fingers at
Yeah.
Miss whoever. It's more of like, hey, like there's this problem exists.
Yeah.
It exists right here. We have the analytics of it.
Right.
Let's go see if we can fix it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to come at it from every different stakeholder's
Yeah.
perspective to get a full picture because that's how I make decisions. It's not just let me go into this one classroom and see what they're
We
doing.
have to observe.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be observing.
Yeah.
And then you've also got to think about how a kid could be an auditory learner,
Mm-hmm.
a kinetic learner, or what's the other one? What is it? Auditory, kinetic,
Visual.
yeah, visual. So like my husband, like he can visualize a page in a book.
Mm.
He will remember it. But when he goes to like write and read, whatever,
Yeah.
just in everyday life, he will skip the little words because they're auto-filling in his brain. And he may miss something super simple like, I need you to check this box here. Because his brain is just going so fast and trying to visually memorize that page.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's a lot of facets.
Yeah, it
but-
sounds lazy.
I will be sure to
No,
let
I'm
him
just
know
kidding.
you
I'm
think
just
that.
kidding. Everyone learns. I'm the worst learner. I have terrible grades. Terrible.
But now
So-
look at you.
Yeah, because I realize I don't need school. I can do whatever I want. So that's
To a point.
America.
America.
It's America, right? No, actually, that's what I told my nieces and nephews. They're like, yeah, the one thing you want to learn is how to be a good liar. And
Wow.
Okay.
because if you're in a position that you understand that you can lie, I feel like you have a better understanding of that situation. Because if you know that exists, then like you can make a choice of not doing that or doing that.
That's an interesting thought process.
Well, because some people are are compulsive liars, and I always wonder like, how do you get to that point? Because I've always met people like, they do the 1-up game, and I'm like, how? It's like a tick. Like, how did you? Well, it's like, how does this happen? But like when I understood, especially like conversing with people, it's like, I could totally just have some fun with this right now. And that's when
I could see you doing that.
And
you like to stir the pot.
Oh, I 100%. I love it.
He has a big old stick over there in the corner. I see his.
Oh, yeah, I see it right now.
Yeah, and a broom too.
Yep.
And I just something I always like that idea, because you learn more about people, and then you start learning more about how things function. Mm-hmm. And then so if you understand what lying is, like if the basis of lying, then you can choose to be a good person or a bad person.
I mean, I would argue that you could, without, everyone.
I'm not saying
what
to
lying
lie.
is.
I don't know. Some people don't. They really don't.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It's like talking to that worst teacher. She probably doesn't think she's the worst teacher. I'm like, we got the grades. You're the worst teacher.
oh, Dick.
Thank you so much for joining us on Mornings with Lone Star. On that note, we're in good hands, it seems like, right?
Seems like.
It seems like.
You are.
You
Don't worry.
Yeah.
you just got in. We have no idea what you're
Don't
capable
worry.
of.
It's going to be good.
uThrive Academy, check it out below. We're going to get back to the music here on Mornings with Lone Star. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we have more stuff coming up. It is December. If you want to be a guest, just let us know at irlonestar.com. Again, we're a nonprofit 501c3, so we kind of need donations and sponsorship to keep going over here. We'd really appreciate that too. You guys, we'll see you later.